Good morning. Just a couple things because I see my video will only be able to last 6 minutes. So, one of them, I was led to Proverbs today, Proverbs 19, and it was talking a lot about foolishness and wisdom, which is great for all of us to hear. And so, the Proverbs is a good place to turn for that. And so it talks all about being foolish or being wise, but primarily I wanted to look at Proverbs 19 verse 21 that says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." And that kind of went together with the psalm I was looking at today, the second part of Psalm 14. And it talks about God ultimately bringing about good for us and for the righteous and saving us. But I guess even before that, Proverbs 16 was also referred to, and there's a couple cool verses there too about how God's plans will succeed. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plan will succeed. There is a way that seems right to man, but the end lands to death. The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. That's the one that comes from the devotion today. The lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord. And to me, these verses really help you with anxiety. I think anxiety comes from a place where we feel we're out of control, where we don't have the strength to deal with things, where we don't have the resources. And so, even I believe it's the commentary of the Psalms, talks about, or maybe it was from the devotion, talking about worrying. And it says, when we worry or have anxiety, we are meddling with Christ's business and not our own when we fret about our lot and circumstances. So it's Jesus' business. And that's what these other verses to me were saying is ultimately God's got us, God's got this, and we need to just keep on putting first obedience. And so that was a big part of the fool and wisdom part, is just, God, let me do what you ask me to do and let all the rest be up to you. Trust in your promises. And so there were two parts also to Psalm 14 that talks about the righteous people, because it says the wicked people are going to fret. They are going to worry. Their conscience is going to get to them. They're going to feel unsupported because ultimately life can't make you promises. Only God is the same forever and his promises last. And so for the righteous, though, it talks about the Lord is their refuge. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor. There's that planning word again. There are people who you feel may be getting in the way of your plans, but ultimately God's got you. The Lord is your refuge. It really doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside or who's winning or any of that. God's got this. God knows the plans he has. He knows how many hairs are on your head. And so two things we can think about is one, that we can find comfort in what we have, what we already know we have, which is God's protection and God providing for us. So he's and his presence with us. Nothing can take away God's love for us. Nothing can separate us from God's love. So when we know we have that, we can have peace in our hearts. The second thing is that we know not only what we already have, but we could take comfort in knowing what we will have, how the end of the story goes, that in the end we'll get to be on the holy hill in Zion, which was some of my reading in Hebrews chapter 12, I believe, and it talks about we get to go where there's no more fear and no more struggle and no more anxiety and no more pain. We have that to focus on, God's promises. So the last part of my notes are, let my eyes be fixed on your abundance. So we can think of a God who owns the world, on your love, and he wants to use that for us. It's not that we just have a God who has all power or has so much. It's he wants to use it for us, to our good, for his purposes. And then a God who has inscrutable wisdom. So let my eyes be fixed on that and remember that. And then there's really no place for worry. God's got the power to help me. God knows how to help me, even when I don't see what's going on. He knows better than me, and He loves me. He wants to take care of me. Good stuff today. Enjoy that promise and that the peace that comes with that Jesus died to make you God's friend. Enjoy your day.